The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, where a bunch of powerhouse men and women get together online to talk about love, sex, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com, and I help hardworking women and couples who have survived abuse be vibrant, alive, magnetic, and passionate while creating healthy, intimate relationships. I'm coming to you from the Wellville headquarters on the east side of Manhattan. Wellville is an amazing organization that brings the health and wellness community together to connect, socialize, grow, and flourish. If you want to be a part of the inspiring and happiness supporting events, become a member by going to Wellville, WELLVYL.com, and signing up. It's a healthy, fun club for good people. I see Angela's here. Hi, honey. I'm glad that you're here. And being here at Wellville is perfect because if you guys have been following along, you know that I am kicking off the summer with our brand new theme. And this summer's theme is the summer of the badass bachelor. I'm looking for all the badass bachelors. And speaking of which, my Lee, I see you just showed up. Hi, honey. Hi, everybody who's out there in the armed radio world. So here's the thing. This summer, we're going to be here at Wellville. You're welcome to come to be in studio with us for the juicy conversations. Tonight, I have my first badass bachelor who I'm going to introduce you to in a second. I just want to make sure that we, let some people trickle in, and then we get on the live and we get to do some sharing. There we are. So you guys know how I do. I like to watch the comments. At least that's badasses. That's right. That's what we are, honey. I like to watch the comments and interact with you guys. So those of you who are listening in on Armed Radio, maybe you're using your TuneIn app, or maybe you're in the garden on armedradioglobal.com. We're also on iHeartRadio, so don't forget to follow us and download your favorite shows. And for the streamers, we're also available on Spotify and Spreaker, or maybe you're live with us here on the Facebook. And tonight we're going to be broadcasting here on my regular page, my personal page. And I'm about to share it to my business page too. And this is a good time to share. So, Chris, I'm going to introduce you in a second, but if you want to go ahead and share wherever you want to share, I see you got the Instagram live going on. Those of you who are watching, you know that you guys can share in whatever groups you choose to. I like to invite you to do that. Hold on, let me just find my page. I manage too many pages. Do you find that issue?
Yes.
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 Like just too many pages, too many,
yes.
Right? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share on a page that I manage, which is Candace Harper Love Coach is my business page. You guys know that. So, and also, you can comment or question us live. And if you have a question, something comes up and you're out in the audio world, you know that you can email us, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. And, those questions answered in a later broadcast because we ain't got time to be checking emails. We have a lot to be talking about this hour, this one little short hour that we have. So, like I said, I'm Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. My talent is conversation. My passion is personal growth. And my purpose is to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance in myself and in others so that we can all have our best possible love life. And that is why, as I always say every Monday, this is a conversation. We're not here to hand down a bunch of dating or relationship rules or rights and wrongs. We're not here to shame your love situation. Our only intention is to create audacious intimacy, seductive singlehoods, and healthy relationships. So tonight and every Monday night, we're going to do what we do, which is have conversations that engage, educate, and or enlighten all of us in the areas of love, sex, dating, vibrating high. And so my special guest, Chris, I'm going to read your bio because I like for people to know the accomplishments, right? And know about the person. Sure. Krietchman, right? Chris yes. Krietchman tonight is my special guest. So as a health and wellness entrepreneur, Chris has had almost 30 years of experience in the health, fitness, and wellness world. Chris's interest began as he entered his first bodybuilding competition in his early teenage years that started a professional career for almost 15 years. His educational years were spent in medical and business studies, focusing on biology, chemistry, and finance. After an injury and no longer being able to compete, he started a daily delivery meal program business in 2008 and operated to 2012 while addressing his ailments with alternative treatments and therapies. Chris is known for his discipline, endurance, relentlessness, and focus. His family also has 2 decades of building nightlife and hospitality spaces here in NYC for the likes of the Hampshire Hotel Group, Dream Hotels, Time Hotels, Chatwell Hotels, and Unscripted Hotels, and also the Marquee and Tao nightlife groups, but has also owned and operated their own properties and brands in nightlife here in NYC. Chris is tough and loving, the perfect combo for today's entrepreneur. I love that. So, Chris, say hi to everybody.
Hello, and
Yay.
how y'all doing?
And you guys know, those of you who watch on the live, you know that you can talk to both me and Chris. You can ask us questions.
Please.
Throughout the course of everything. And Chris is kind enough to just be here and take our vulnerability quiz and answer all sorts of questions, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Nope, I'm totally calm.
Are you?
I'm totally calm.
I see, steady-handed, ready to go. So we're gonna jump in, and you guys know that you're always invited too. Like, I ask these questions, and those of you who are watching, if you feel compelled, you can also answer the questions too. We can ask Chris questions about his answers, and you can always ask me questions, and we'll just have a really fun conversation.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready? Are you ready to start?
I'm ready. Let me get my ready seat position.
All right, I'm gonna keep sharing too as I have you answer. But the very first question is, what are you passionate about?
Passionate about helping people.
Okay.
Like, find ways to communicate with each other better. I'm really passionate about living healthier lifestyles. I'm passionate about doing things that people say can't be done. Those are some of the things I'm passionate about.
Yeah. So that leads me to another question. I love being passionate about doing things that people say can't be done. Like, give us an example of something that you were like, everyone said it couldn't be done and you did it.
Well,
not to put you on the spot or anything.
I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is I turn around and say, we could change healthcare in this country and in the world. People are like, no, we can't. Well, why can't we? 243 years ago, we set up this country. We made this country.
Yeah.
Who's to say we can't do a new system? Who says we can't do things?
Yeah.
Just because we stick to the tried and true ways doesn't mean that that's the way it is. People told me things that to answer your very specific question. You can't throw 3 events a week as a pop-up.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. Well, I did it.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked.
Right. I almost feel like that's the challenge. When someone says you can't do something, it's like, that's it. Now I got to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
you can't be this. You can't do that. I like to just prove that you could do whatever you really want to do.
Yeah.
As long as you see yourself doing it.
Right. We have so many social constructs and so many. Did you ever hear that? I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's sort of an analogy or a metaphor for how people just sort of fall into the generational rules. It's something about a mom cooking a pot roast and she cuts it in a weird way. Mm-hmm. And her daughter's like, well, why did you cut it that way? She's like, well, my mom always cut it that way. So she asked her mother, so why do you always cut the pot roast that way? I just did it. You taught me how to do it, so I just do it. Mm-hmm. And her mom said, well, my mom always cut the pot roast that way. And so her mother happened to be alive. That's 4 generations of people. And she asked her, why do you cut the pot roast that way? She's like, well, because the size oven that I had, it would only fit in properly because the pan and, whatever. She had a reason for doing it. But because no one ever asked the reason, they just went with the construct of doing it that way. Generations later, doing
so the
same
explanation
thing.
Never showed up.
The explanation never
Just
showed up. Yeah, this is how we do it. And I feel like so much of what we do is around, this is how it's always been done.
Yes. And
right?
we never think about the fact that something was done a certain way because of a constraint.
Exactly. A constraint or a need or something that went away a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. You guys can do with that whatever you want to. Hi, Brian. I see you've joined. Hi, honey. Welcome. Okay, so next question is, what's your purpose?
My purpose?
Yeah.
My purpose is to prove that I can change the world, and everyone else can change. My purpose is to be an usher of change and affect it. That's my purpose. My purpose is to
like that
and to be.
Like 100% in yourself with it, like doing what you desire to do, what you're inspired to do, that kind of thing. I like that. This is why it's good that we meet these guys, because here's the thing, like I said before, the reason I'm doing this theme is because so many times, especially, those of us women of a certain age who are single, there's a story that there are no men out there that are interested in, having fulfilling lives and actually connecting on a deeper level or working on themselves. And what I find a lot with women is like a resistance to wanting to do further work, because it's like, what are the guys out there doing? So that, I love that you said that, Chris, about your purpose, because this is exactly what I'm talking about, ladies. The men do exist that actually grow themselves and are up to good things in the world. Here's one right here. Okay, so here's the next question. Name something, sorry, scratch you. Name something you identify as a true expression of who you are.
Relentless.
Okay.
I'm relentless.
I love the intensity with which you share that.
Yeah, relentless.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you want to say anything about relentlessness?
I think that I can add this to being relentless. Many people start projects or companies or ideas or passions or books or drawings or whatever it is, projects in any way, shape, or form. And something will come up and get in the way. Oh, I don't have time to do it. I can't do it. I think that there's something special about being relentless about the thing that you care about.
Yeah.
And you can care about a lot of different things and be relentless about a lot of them. But seeing something through, regardless of what gets in the way, I think is a powerful thing. And like for me, I almost was in a wheelchair. Had I not been able to get the treatments that I have for this condition. Yeah. And it didn't stop me from building a team. It stopped me from throwing events. It didn't get in the way. And because I was relentless about the goal that I want to create here. So when you are a person acting from a place of relentless, will not let anything get in your way. Yeah. Obviously with kindness and compassion. You don't want to be
asshole. Right.
Asshole, horrible human being, and being kind of the same thing. But I mean, like, relentless behavior is what gets something through the line and gets it past fruition. Or like sitting there constantly, perpetually thinking about like, how's it going to look? Sometimes you just got to be like, all right, I got to get it done, and then, all right, I hit my first wall. Yeah. Does that mean you quit? No. That means you regroup, you rethink, you retrench, you move around, and you keep moving forward. Yeah. That's being relentless.
No, I love it. And it goes back to, because Chris and I were having a really great conversation too, even before we started the podcast. And we were talking about the whole idea of like, mastery. And what was it? There was something you said that was so great about a master is someone who's a master at fail. I forget how you put it.
I think no one has failed as much as the master has. Yeah. Because to be a master, you must actually fail, and the more you fail, the more you learn to fail with grace, the more you learn to implement change, the more you learn to do things. So when it comes to the student and the master, no one knows failure better than the master. Yeah. And to be a true master, you must be willing to fail. Yeah.
Gotta be relentless, right? Through all that failure. Yeah. No, it's true. That's good stuff. I love it. All right. What is your deepest romantic desire?
Deepest romantic desire.
Like if you were just gonna like lay it out there and just, that thing that you consistently feel like,
okay,
that would be it.
Deepest romantic desire, someone who some situation where hard to answer that question. Wow.
I know, because it's a vulnerable question for one thing.
But it's also open. I can answer it in many different ways.
Yeah, well, any way you want.
All right, so I could say like the most romantic, desirable situation for me would be to have a person in my life who understands how hard I put myself out there for others. that also knows when kind of like not have to say anything, and I don't have to say anything, and it's kind of like this silent understanding of like I could use a hug or a pat on the back, but also equally I can read that person. I think that the most romantic thing is when two.
It does. Like there's sort of a kindred and a connection in that.
Yeah, there's like total vibe and energy, and working off of that is like really romantic.
Do you feel like, is that something that you've ever had like pretty early on relationship?
I've had pieces of it.
Yeah.
I haven't had it the way I guess I've almost fantasized about it.
Yeah.
Because ironically, like, I'm single, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I haven't met that moment. I've kind of had touches of it. It's like, wow, to like have someone so in sync with you would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of because that means you know a person so well.
Now let me ask you this, because here's the thing that I think, and it's a story that I've made up, because obviously it's not true of every man, but I think very generally speaking that a lot of guys, they have a very, and I always say this, not in a wrong-making way, because I actually think it's a great way to date. I think that a lot of times men, when they date, it's sort of like they're shopping for fruit. Like they'll squeeze a little, see if it's good, squeeze another one, oh, I like this one, I'll take it. But I also feel like a lot of times, and I guess women do it too. I don't want to cast aspersions on any gender, but this idea of like, this is not necessarily, what I ideally desire. So, I walk away. So are you someone who you're willing to build that sort of rapport with? You're someone who'd like be willing to, be in the, I don't want to say in the trenches because it doesn't necessarily mean it's negative, but in those early stages of not having that until it grows into that?
Well, I mean, how do you get there? Right? You have to be willing to put the time and the effort in.
Yes.
So you have to, one of the problems I notice in the world today with relationships is people aren't willing to really put in the time.
Yes.
Especially in a place like New York City, we think that like the next thing, literally it's like swipe culture. You could turn the corner and you could physically like, yes, no, as you walk down the street.
Right.
So it's really hard to like, people are always seeing like shiny, fresh, new objects. So they're not really thinking about like, oh, like I have this right now. How can I invest in this, and how can I really build upon this? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you pick someone now or you pick someone later, ultimately you just make the decision to pick.
Yeah.
Like going back to those conversations about vanilla or chocolate. Like there's a moment where you just got to say, all right, like I like this. I'm going to choose this person, and I'm going to build with this person and see if I can get there.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if both people aren't willing to like do it.
And I feel like you're right. Like, I feel like so many people think that there's some sort of like magical thing that needs to happen. And so that's why and because there's just so much possibility out, in the city, there's so many people, the population is so big that a lot of times we think about our romantic desires and we think it's something that should just be with someone. And if it's not that person, I'll go to this person or I'll go to that person.
And the other thing is, on top of that, people wind up over fantasizing about things. Like part of our original conversation before we started tonight was about like pushing ideas away and not over romanticizing thoughts, whether they're good or bad. Because you can over romanticize an idea about like what you want in romance, that all of a sudden you're romanticizing yourself and you're not even actually in the relationship with someone in the moment. You're kind of like, you're like meet a person and you're like fantasize about like, oh, how this relationship is going to go and what it's going to be. And you build up all these expectations, but you actually haven't spent time with
that person
to know if it's even a possibility.
Which is, you were saying this earlier, and I thought that was so great about the expectation thing, because it's definitely, and I told you earlier, it's something that I have done, where it's like, you build up, and we often do this, right? We build up all this expectation, and then it sort of already sabotages, what is in reality, and then all of a sudden we want to then make it negative because it wasn't what our expectations were. When meanwhile, there was a possibility for some sort of growth that we don't often allow. Right.
Sometimes we sit in our thoughts instead of be in action and present in the world.
Yeah, and choose. Yeah. No, it's true. I love that. See, girls, there's men out here that are thinking.
A little bit.
A little bit, right? Like they're given this, like personally, I always say I'm a personal growth junkie, and I end up in a lot of rooms with a lot of women, right? And so I think, sometimes we forget. It's so easy to be in that space of like, men don't do this, men don't do that, men ain't shit.
I mean, there's a lot of overgeneralizing that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, men do it too, but like, women are only interested in this, women are only interested in that, women just see this, women just see that. Like the heterosexual norm of that type of conversation, that's just is the nature of it. And the best thing we can do is actually form more dialogues and more conversations like this, where we can actually get difference of points of viees to actually create a conversation for people to come together. So kudos to you for having this.
Thank you. Also that we can learn about each other. Because that's what it's all about. That's what life is all about. So who do you, what's your favorite thing to do for someone that you love?
Oh, surprise the shit out of them.
Yeah?
Like do things that aren't expected. Like I think that when you care about a person, you go above and beyond. Okay. And you don't think about like what it means for you. Like to go and buy like a bouquet of roses for someone just because. Yeah. Not on Valentine's Day. Or like maybe go hand pick the flowers on Valentine's Day and go hand deliver them yourselves and like make the effort. Yeah. Is one of the things that I love to do is like.
Do you consider yourself a guy who like likes the romantic side of things?
Absolutely. I think that all human beings like the romantic side of things, whether they're willing to admit it or not, because romantic gestures, romantic sayings, like going back to the 5 love languages, like, you got to figure out what it is for people, and people have got to really know what it is to really communicate. But I think that romance is important. Yeah. I think that, we're not animals. That separates us from like dogs and but like we have this romance, and it's like, how do you remove it? I mean, I think most of the time that people get excited about another person is the anticipation of what it is, and there's where the romance kind of is, and that whole sweeping someone off their feet, or like, I mean, we can't also overindulge in because then you can get
caught up
addicted to it as well, and then that could have negative effects to it as well. But I personally think romance is very important in life. Yeah. Whether you're in a relationship or not.
I want to hear what the people think too. So those of you who are watching, tell us what you think. Let's see what Lee said. He said, you have to do more than just squeeze the fruit.
I mean,
that is true.
I mean, yeah.
You got to do a little bit more than that. So Jamie says, hi, Kenya. Jamie says, hi, Candace. Hi, Chris. Hi, James. Let's see. And Mary Beth came in. Hi, Mary Beth. You guys chime in too about romance and stuff like that, because I think that you're absolutely right. There is a point where it can become sort of a manipulation. Mm-hmm. When we try to overdo it, to try to attach ourselves to getting someone to do something. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. Like I feel like, and I love that you mentioned the love languages, right? Because I feel. Do you know your love language?
I know that I like words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
I like that, and I also like small gestures. I also like touch.
Yeah,
those are 3.
You like 3 of them. You're like,
I mean,
they're all good, and in their own way.
And at different times, at different points and moods of my life, and different aspects, like one is more stronger than the other. Yeah, like there are times where I need physical. There are times where I need, and physical can be 2 things. Like it could be sexual, or it could just be like kissing and like just cuddling and stuff like that. Yeah. Caressing, like
everybody deserves that,
right? Like I think it's great, but then there are also times where like I would like to feel it by hearing it. Yeah. And then there are small things of like little acts and gestures, like those are nice. Yeah. Because the little things to me says, "Oh, I'm on your mind," when I don't think I'm on your mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I do things.
And I think a lot of times too, when we get in relationships, people assume that men don't need that sort of thing, and I think that that's a wrong assumption. or they,
Well,
they
let's
ignore
break
it.
that stereotype.
Right? Brian says, for me, men hate the changing idea when the growth idea makes for better romance. You have to tell us a little bit more about that. He says,
Yeah,
great
I want
points.
more. I want more input on
Right?
that.
Tell us a little bit more about that, Brian. Men hate the changing idea when the growth idea makes for better romance. Great point.
So changing versus growth.
Changing versus growth. Tell us more about what you.
I want to hear more, but I could see what he's saying, being the heterosexual male sitting at the moment. I can kind of see what he's talking about, but I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I could postulate that like changing means I have to become someone I'm not.
Yeah.
Whereas growing means we get to up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Brian, come on, wait.
Right? If that's where he's coming from, that makes sense. Like no one wants to have to change themselves or be something different in order to be with someone, or and that's one thing too. Like we could do a whole nother podcast, a whole nother tangent about trying to mold someone into what you want them to be, which we don't go there. That's not what authentic intimacy is about.
Always leads to it.
Right?
Almost
or just
always.
bed death, or just long-term misery, or breaking up, or whatever. There's just
Not a good outcome.
not a good outcome. All right, now Kenya, hi Kenya. Are you going to join us today? Or you going to chill? Huh? You're not in front of the camera? Oh, okay. So you guys know, those of you who follow, my Kenya is here. I love it because we're going to start the whole thing where we're inviting people. This is going to be a social hour before the podcast, like we used to do back in the day with the V Club. So yeah, thank you, honey. I'm glad that you're here. You can always chime in if you so choose. Kenya, Chris, Kenya.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
So let's do another question. Oh wait, Brian says bingo. So I guess you were right on the money with what he was trying to say there.
Ooh, I nailed it.
Huh? You nailed it. Lee says men do need affirmation. The little things mean a lot. It's amazing when your love interest does things that makes you feel like you are important, even with tiny gestures. Yeah, you and Lee are like right there.
Well said.
Right? I love it when the brothers show up. All right, now tell me, have you ever, speaking of the 5 love languages, have you ever received a gift that made you feel really loved?
I gotta think.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've received a gift.
Yeah. Because we always associate that with women, and women like, jewelry, and we like to get gifts.
Yeah.
That's true.
I don't recall.
No.
That kind of says maybe not, or maybe it wasn't that impactful.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's the running joke, especially men who become dads. They end up getting like neckties and shit. Like I feel like men, getting men gifts. Getting
so that's
men
what I
gifts
have to
is
look forward to is neckties, and I never wear a tie.
Right? Socks and neckties. No one ever knows what to buy men because they always associate the getting of gifts with women, right? But I feel like,
Or Old Spice cologne.
Old Spice cologne. Can I just tell you, Old Spice cologne is like low key my favorite. I know it's just like a drugstore cologne, but I like, like people come with fancy stuff. I'm like, I like the Old Spice.
Old Spice is good stuff.
I'm not mad at that,
I mean,
right?
It's been around for a while.
It's been around for a while.
For a reason.
It almost smells like, like it's almost like a granddad cologne, but it's sexy. I love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's got some sophistication to it.
It's got a little sophistication. Huh? They have new scents?
Yes, they do.
All right, we're doing an Old Spice commercial, right? Do you? Right? So let's see. Lee says a gift does not have to be a large thing. Don't forget the gestures and love are an amazing gift. Yeah. Oh, I like that, Lee.
Reminded me, one woman I dated bought me flowers once.
Really?
And that was the coolest thing because I love to buy flowers for women.
Yeah.
And you realize that the reason why I love to buy flowers is the flower.
Yeah.
And it's an excuse for me to see flowers.
To buy flowers.
So when someone bought me flowers, it was them realizing why I liked to buy them flowers.
Yeah.
So that there was a time, I do recall that. It did happen.
Oh, I love that.
It took a minute.
Yeah. And I've heard of that. I've never actually bought a guy flowers, but I've heard of, I've had friends, clients, whatever, say that they bought a guy flowers, and always a positive result.
I mean, why would you not like flowers?
Well, I don't know. That we have so many gender constructs, and
so here's an interesting thought process to think about. If men like heterosexual men like the shape of a woman and so on. And flowers are very tend to be put into a very feminine category, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that because of their shapes and their very organic design. So why would men not like flowers if you associate the two in that type of a comparison?
Like pretty and pretty.
If you like a pretty woman, you can't say that flowers are pretty?
Yeah. No, I get it. You're preaching, honey. Why not? James says, I'm not a gift person. It's not a love language of mine. Not at all, James. You got to come clean with that. Not even a little bit, because everybody likes to get a little.
James?
Huh? Yeah, James. What are your love languages? Which I feel like the love languages are a lot like the 6 human needs. It's like some of us have certain ones that are much higher, but ultimately all of them we need on some level, right? Like a little bit. Not to disparage you, James. You know I love you, honey. And here's Dinesh. Hi, Dinesh. So yeah, tell us, James, what your love languages actually are. And we're going to go to the next question. Who do you admire most in your personal life? They're thinkers. These are.
Honestly, who I admire the most is my mom and dad.
Really?
Yeah, and for 2 very different reasons.
Okay, tell us.
So my mom is 75. She's been through 30 surgeries. She's survived cancer a couple of times.
Wow.
In July of last year, had spinal fusion surgery. And in September, had spinal fusion surgery again and an adjustment done. Then just this past April, had her right hip replaced and femur replaced.
Yeah.
So, yet she's nothing. Yeah, she's a survivor.
She's so powerful about that.
and honestly, I admire the fuck out of my mom.
Yeah.
She doesn't see her own strength because she's caught up in the story of like things aren't good, things aren't well, blah, blah. And I point out, and I'm like, you don't realize how strong you are.
Yeah.
Like you've been through
What
so
you've
many different
overcome.
things. Yeah. And then when it comes to my dad, I'm very I admire my dad a lot because I've never seen a person with more patience in my entire life.
Is it patience for your mom?
It's patience for everybody. I mean,
patience.
he raised 4 kids, which 3 daughters, my mother in the house, my grandmother in the house, and then me.
Yeah.
So, and he worked 6 days a week, and like he still managed to and not lose his temper. I mean, obviously there are always times and moments that you remember as a kid, but like nothing that scarred me in particular. But when I look at what my dad has done and managed over the years, I just like, wow, like he's very selfless.
Yeah.
And like that blows my mind. And had like a lot more money and a lot more of a lifestyle and like a little bit more debonair around certain things. And he chose like, no, I'd rather give to my kids and like selfless in that. It really affected me as a human being.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. See, here's the thing too. I love the way that you talk about them because I think that's so important. There's so many of us, I think, that we let decades and decades go by where we haven't gotten to that healthy space with our parents where there's an acceptance. And that to me speaks so much to our own self-acceptance. Right?
We wind up realizing as we get older how much we are our parents.
Right?
And how we relate to the opposite sex and to the same sexes as we relate to our parents.
Absolutely. And also the one thing that it's something that I learned probably just within the last few years is that it's not only just about accepting them, but it's also about like for me, I was in the story of what I didn't like about what they gave me and what I was trying to resist about them, and completely ignored all the great things that they gave me. All of the like I'm who I am because of the greatness of them and the great things that they did. But I spent a very long time just, why'd they do this? Why'd they do that? And there's so many of us that walk around with the story of how our parents fucked us up. So when you meet a badass bachelor, what you get is somebody who has accepted their parents. Like none of us perfect, who they are, strengths and weaknesses, they are who they are. And I love that you personally admire them. Fantastic.
There also was a point in time where I had to take responsibility for my own actions.
Right?
I can't blame what I'm doing at 40 on what happened as a kid.
Right?
There's just the point where you just got to go,
That's on me. But here's the thing about that. At 40, I was still blaming them and I wasn't even aware that's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you would have asked me, I would have said, oh, I've forgiven all that stuff. But yet I had so many limitations that were based on not wanting to be like my mother. And so many limitations based on not wanting to do things like my father did them. And that's part of that too, right? Like,
interesting.
Taking responsibility and being okay with things and letting go of like those old resentments.
And you know what's interesting? When you take responsibility for something, you don't have to take the guilt.
Yeah.
You just take the responsibility.
Right?
People associate that when you take responsibility, you got to take the guilt of something. No. You just have to own it.
Leave the guilt and take the power.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I agree. So who do we have? John joined. Joe, what's up, Joe? What's up, Stuart? Lee gives us a thumbs up. James is saying totally. I don't know what I'm just glad she's replying to Mary Beth. What did Mary Beth say? She says, the unexpected small gestures are always good. Oh, this is back to the love languages. Mm-hmm. For me, it could be just as simple as a good morning text or good night text. We love that, right?
Those are important.
Right, they're very important. Some guys think material things are needed to have romance. I think men are just like women. They like to hear that they are an important part of someone's life.
You matter.
Yeah. You feel that's true too, right?
I know it's true.
James says, of course, I appreciate gifts, but I feel most loved by physical affection and verbal affirmation. I hear that, honey.
With you on that, James.
Right? That's awesome. All right. Are we ready for the next question?
Oh.
You ready?
Oh, there's another one.
There's another question coming. All right. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of?
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, however you identify yourself, on dates, you can be asking people these questions. These are first date questions, I think. Yeah. Right.
What am I most proud of? You know what? I'm most proud of the fact that I'm gonna get really vulnerable and honest here.
Do it. I love it.
And for the audience, I am a survivor of suicide. 16 and a half years. Yeah. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and I now have to handle these treatments. And I think that the biggest accomplishment that I'm the most proud of is actually not a thing. It is actually me getting out of my own way and accepting and allowing that my treatments and the emotions and the things that I've gone through are not going to define me.
Yeah.
And thus I will be relentless. because you know what? I won't let my shortcomings in my life or the cards that I've been dealt or failures or successes define me. I want to just be in the moment all the time, and I'm most proud of being able to sit here in this moment right now and be this person. That's my biggest accomplishment that I'm most proud of, is the fact that I can see that.
I want you guys to really get this, because what you said, it just really was beautiful, because what it speaks to is this just being able to be where you are and have gratitude for just like your life and being in the space after having gone through what you've gone through. And all of us go through our traumas, all of us go through our hardships. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that is so much we have so many stories about what success is and, what we're supposed to be doing and where we're supposed to be when we can just be.
Absolutely. You don't have to do anything.
Right?
You don't have to go to the gym every day of the week. You don't have to do this. You don't have to go to that. You don't have to get this thing done. You get to do these things.
And that's a huge accomplishment, to get from the space of feeling like you have to and, being under because I've dealt with depression myself, and feeling under that weight, as opposed to understanding that you are 100% whole and enough if you just be. That's huge.
It's liberating, actually. Yeah. Because I used to sit there as a professional bodybuilder, I have to go to the gym all the time. I have to eat 6 meals a day. I have to do this. I have to do that. Oh my God, it's time to eat. Oh my God. The passion and the fun of doing it was out the window, because it was constantly living into the what I have to do.
Yeah.
So that now I eat one meal a day, and people are like, how do you do that? I'm like, I'm free of all the constraints. I could walk around town when I wake up and go leave this city. I could go anywhere I want without the constraint of, oh my God, what I'm going to do for breakfast. I'm hangry. I'm this, I'm that. No.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'll eat my dinner at night when I'm done with all the things I have to do, and I can just relax.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't feel like going to the gym today. Okay, I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's not procrastination. That's acceptance of the fact that I'm not trying to be something I'm not.
Yeah. Like you're not attached to some sort of result. We're always attached to some sort of result. Jamie says, thank you for your vulnerability, Chris. It's a beautiful thing and such a sign of strength. Absolutely.
Thank you. Vulnerability is not weakness.
No, absolutely.
No one ever.
But I think also what you're talking about, that presence thing, is actually access to all the things that we say we want. Like I always say, we're always so busy shooting on ourselves. Like I should do this and I should do that but just being able to be in the moment, that's total access to, everything that you want. We're not saying don't go to the gym. We're not saying, just sit around like a lump. It's just being in allowance and acceptance and being where you're at with it, being present.
To that point, a lot of people ask me questions about losing weight. What's the key to weight or gaining weight? And I let them talk about it. And they're like, oh, I have to, what you don't realize what you're doing and the reason why you hold on to certain weight, extra water weight or body fat and stuff, stressing yourself out.
Yeah.
Cortisol levels is for real. The reason why you're actually not getting that last bit done is because you're stressing about that last bit done or that first bit.
Yeah.
Like when you get to that, like you don't have to lose the weight to be a person. You don't have to fit into a size whatever in order to be this person. You don't have to do any of those things.
Yeah.
What you have to do is chill the fuck out.
Right? No, it's true.
Chill out. Chill out.
Be with where you're at.
I don't know anyone who thought another person was really attractive because they felt like they weren't someone yet.
Right? I love it because it's like that's one of the most unattractive things when you meet someone and all they're talking about is where they're trying to get to.
Right.
And also putting themselves down for not being there yet.
Yeah. Like I'll be great when I get my act together.
Yeah.
Like, I can have this when this happens.
Exactly.
Like perpetually living into the future. It's like, you're pretty awesome right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I can't accept that. No. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you.
It's such a catch-22. I mean, for me, I'm someone, like, I lost 40 pounds last year, and I'm doing another 20 just because I'm doing it. I'm very happy, like, thank you. But I've never been able to do it sustainably until I did exactly what you're talking about. Like, each day, I'm just where I'm at. If I feel like running and I'm feeling it and I got that energy, I do it because it feels good and I'm in that moment. But then there's other days where it's like, I forgive myself for, what I'm not able to do that day or whatever. But you're right. Like once I let go of the stress, so much of like I always say, it was more the emotional weight, like that the extra weight was really representational of how much I was trying to control everything and do everything right and stressing about it and upset that it wasn't already what I wanted it to be. Like letting go of that is what has kept it off. I've probably kept off the 40 pounds for like almost a year now. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate it. You can't tell that I was? Well, by the time I met you, I had lost it. Yeah. But if you go back on Facebook, you can. I'll show you some pictures, girl.
Well, you're who you are today.
That's right.
You're not that person. You're this person.
Exactly. And, just each moment, just being it as 100% as I can be it and being okay with it. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for that, Chris. All right. So here's a good question. What is your most desired future vision?
My most desired future vision is being someone who stands for humanism and like proving that like my most desired thing is to be able to be more selfless, help usher in the change.
Yeah.
Which is getting more people to come together and like dissolving borders, like getting to a global civilization where we're all kind of like together, and I just want to be part of that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I'm the one who's going to lead that, but I also don't know I'm not going to be the person. What I do know is that I keep being drawn to like, how do we get our consciousness, but like, and the physical world aligned? We can stomp out like problems. Very passionate about like progressing change to a point. I remember as a kid watching things like Star Wars and seeing how, and like I always ask myself this as an adult, like, so when are we going to get there?
Right.
The only thing that gets in the way of us getting there is us.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no reason why we can't.
Absolutely. Except that we just like are hung up on our bullshit stories and our past and our political arguments and our disagreements and stuff that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And to the point, I'd like to have a partner that can kind of rock it with me.
Yeah.
And like who's kind of like on that level. Like, really, I have a desire for that, but I'm also not attached to that.
So it's like an understanding of community, right? Like an understanding of the great sameness. We were talking earlier about like, you know, we all have our different ways of sort of describing our sort of spiritual framework, right? And this idea that we're all just one big energy to begin with, whatever you want to call it. What do you want to call it? Love, God, whatever. Like we're all one thing, and then bits of us are in this human suit running around. But somebody who can be with that, right? That it's about community and how we help each other and actually do for each other. I heard this great quote. I don't know it verbatim, but it basically was saying anything that you want to do or achieve, help someone else do it. Right?
It's a very great.
In order to have what you want, in order to, help someone else.
And sometimes you actually feel better when someone else has what you want that you help them get.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you've earned it yourself, but you didn't. So it's actually like a nice thing to do. It's like a double whammy of you did it because you wanted it, but you helped someone else.
Yeah, no, totally. It means everything. Right? Because we're all connected. So you guys can also chime in, whatever you feel like, you know, as far as your future visions are concerned and how you feel about this whole community thing. Because I think also, too, those of us sort of in this personal growth conversation, we all come back to the same thing, which is our connectedness and our community.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's generally our future vision. Like, when do we come together? You know, kumbaya, give peace a chance, love each other, stop shooting each other, all that.
How it works is we need to, we work on creating some sort of programming and structure to learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
Because no one is taught how to communicate. They're taught language, they're taught definition, stuff like that, but no one's taught, hey, so when, like, it's like etiquette training or like manners training, like there's like kids young people who go to like boarding schools, and there is that sort of thing. For the general masses there. Yeah. And that's where a lot of ignorance is born. Yeah. Because people don't know how to communicate with someone they don't identify with. Yeah. So they easily dismiss it because it's different and it's other, or they disrespect it. And I think that one of the things that I'm also passionate about, communication is really important. There's no such thing as over communication.
Yeah, by the way. I agree. Like if there was a communication curriculum in standard education, like, I don't know, in less than a generation.
Less problems in the world.
Right? In less than a generation, probably. Right? You agree, Kenya, too? I think so, too.
Especially when
Yeah.
each other too.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
That's true.
The most fertile age for a child's mind. So why are we actually like having fights as parents? Not to feel like they do. The moment where a child's mind is the most impressionable. Yeah. Like if you were more of a stand of more partner or partners or whatever it is to know how to communicate. Like imagine the impact you can have on them. We all have a responsibility.
Good. I love it. This hour goes by so fast. We're already at 51, honey. Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Chris, you have been an amazing guest. I want to ask you one more question. I'm going to try to pick a really good one because I have a lot of them here. Wait, what's something? All right. So here's what I have. I'm going to let you pick it. What's something you always do when you're alone? Or what's something that very few people know about you? Or what's something that you feel a little guilty about? Or I have two more possibilities. Who's your celebrity soulmate or just sexual crush? And what's your personal theme song? These are the last questions. You pick one.
So I'm going to just say Alyssa Milano has been my celebrity crush since I was a kid.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So
but then I could rattle off a few of them. But I think that to tie it back to, what was the first question that you asked?
The very first one was, what's something you always do when you're alone?
And the one after that, because it's going to be tied together.
What's something that very few people know about you?
So when I'm alone and by myself, things that people wouldn't know that I think about the conversations I've had with everyone throughout the entire day. I reflect upon it.
Okay.
Not to the point where I live in the moment and rehearse it. I just think about what I could have done to have left that person feeling alone. Yeah. And there are many times where I don't do a good job, and I definitely have. I'm conscious of it and I'm aware of it. There's nothing that I do that I don't, and I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
And I don't think that any human being really forgets how they did or what they did. I think we just pick and choose what's convenient for us at the time and the moment. And I'm personally one who will sit on my couch by myself, staring out at the city or watching TV, and I'll just sit there and I'll be like, or like,
really?
Or like, wow, like I did a good job, but I could have said this.
Yeah.
I could have adjusted it this way. And the next day, I'll implement it.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's like as you're using it as a learning tool.
Yeah, like I like to self-reflect on the fact of how my actions and my words affect other people.
Yeah.
And I really take that into deep consideration. I don't know if people know that about me, but I feel that people should know that about me. Because, like, you have an opportunity to either get mad at someone who's mad at you or giving you a negative energy for no reason, or you could sit there and be like, Jack, why did Joe look at me? What could be going on in their life?
Yeah.
And how could I actually be more available to understand and be like safe space for them to come?
Let me ask you this. Have you ever, in that process, has it ever compelled you to then go back and talk to that person?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah,
them, like, what they're
constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I want to actually know, and it's interesting because even when you, like, part with people, like, whether it's gone, like, good or bad or indifferent, like, I always kind of, like, want like, hey, like, how are you really feeling about this? Like, could we have done something better? I genuinely do care, and I genuinely know, or else, like, I'd be completely full of shit.
Totally.
And it's not because I associate how people think about me and how they vision me, but whether you like it or not, people don't remember what you do. People remember how you make them feel.
Totally. Maya Angelou, right there, you just quoted. You're absolutely right.
And I learned that.
Yeah.
Because I realized that the people who remember celebrities and this, they don't remember, like pick a singer, right? Like you don't like Jay-Z because just like Jay-Z raps. You like it because there's some sort of feeling that you get when you listen to a song that he said.
Yeah.
You know, like Beyonce, there's something powerful in the ballads and the
even the booty shaking,
right? Like there's something in it. Like even her dancing, her booty shaking, all that stuff. There's something in it that you felt something.
Yeah.
And like that's important to know. And if you're not asking people how they feel after like an encounter with you, I feel that you're not really being a great member of society.
If you don't care how you show up. Chris, we're we're like so running out of time. I feel like you're going to have to come back at some point. I mean, we're going to be here at Wellville for a while. So hopefully you'll be like, when we start having more people come in, you'll still come like,
oh yeah.
Oh, good. Keep participating and stuff like that. I love that you were like our kickoff bachelor. This was so fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And what I want you to do is go ahead and let people know where to find you, like what what you want them to do, where you want them to go.
Okay, so if you want to reach out to me at any point in time, you can always hit me up on Instagram. It's Krietchman. It's CHRISKRIETCHMAN. Me up on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. At any point in time. You can come to any of the Wellville events. Wellville.com, WELLVYL. And I do ask that follow Wellville.
Yes.
On Instagram as well. That would be really cool as well.
Wellville has a banging Instagram. I love Erica, right? Who does your social media? She does a fantastic job. I love it.
Yes.
Following it for a while.
It's pretty amazing.
Right? And you can become a member of Wellville too. So go to that website. Check it out. Be a member. Right? That's awesome. And that's it, Chris. Oh my gosh, you were fantastic. I'm going to plug my stuff a little bit because I know the armed radio people are going to go soon. So, they'll go and we'll say our goodbyes and our thank yous to the Facebook Live people. You guys know I love you. But as you know, we're getting geared up for my 12 Women, 12-week intensive Get Right with Mom for the Sake of Your Love Life. And the result is 12 women who have been surviving a painful or abusive mother-daughter relationship will move the past out of the way, throw out the emotional baggage, become vital life, and if you're interested, just click on the page, plug your application, have a free call, no salesman, things like that, just to see if we're fit. If we're fit, hopefully you'll join us. It's community feel, and follow me on Candy on Instagram, and you are on Facebook. If you're listening out in the armed radio world, just come on Facebook, join the Creative Love Collective. I see we have 1 minute with the armed radio people. Listen, armed radio, never forget that you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you're not getting enough, just make more and ask for Candy. I'm going to be updating the videos that we do on Facebook, on YouTube, so keep looking out for that. Sign up for my newsletter. You'll get a newsletter every Tuesday to bring you back to this link so you can watch again if you want to. And I always give little nuggets. And that's it. I love you, Armed Radio. Mwah. My Facebook people. Oh, Jamie, thank you for the hearts. You guys on Facebook Live, feel free to hit that heart button. Look at you, Jamie, setting examples. Hit that heart button, hit the like button, whatever you're feeling. Thank you, Lee, Lauren, and Sonia. I see you guys came in. Thank you for being here and listening in and being part of the fun, part of the conversation. You guys know that we interact later on or even tomorrow, so I'll be interacting. Joe says, great show today. Thank you, Joe. Joe, you're one of my badass bachelors this summer, so you better...